AskReddit. For the few that have actually read any terms and conditions, what sneaky things have you found? As someone who had to get a privacy policy and read the thing, as far as I know I'm not allowed to use my own service. According to the legal agreement I got with myself and agreed to, in case I do know that I access the service against what's written in the privacy policy, I should contact myself by email letting me know that, so I can erase any private data I got on myself. If I refuse to erase the data, I think I can sue myself. Send help. On Amazon, anytime they want they can take away from me the books that I've bought on Kindle store. It's the same with Steam games, but I hope that everyone who uses Steam was already aware of this. A while ago, 2011, there was a scam work from home service widely advertised all over Facebook and other places, promising enormous paychecks and a free trial. It was an opt-out subscription service as you might expect. Curious as to how the scam worked, I looked at their T&Cs. There was a clause in there requiring you to pay $10,000 in compensation to the company if you filed a chargeback against their fees. Whilst that would never stand up in court, dealing with debt collectors who might conveniently offer to settle for a mere $3,000 would be all sorts of hell. I remember a story years ago about this guy applying for a loan or credit card from his bank, but asked to take the documents home and read over them and send them back a signed copy. He added clauses in the T&Cs that the bank had to pay him, and if they wanted out of the contract they had to pay him some huge exit fee, sign the amended one, and send it back to them, and they agreed to it without reading it. Not sure how true it is though. In the hiring contract for the last company I worked for, there was a line buried on page like 22 that said, if you email a certain email address on your first day saying you saw the line, you get a bonus day of PTO for the year. Did you get the bonus day? Nope lol. Why not? Cause I didn't read it. A job schedule that my company uses requires you to log in using the company email. To set this up on your phone, you have to give your company the rights to erase the contents of your phone remotely, probably in case you become a threat to the company. No thanks. I know at some point Comcast was not responsible if it gave you the not alive. Haven't looked at it in years though, used to work for them, so you get to learn the terms pretty quickly. Comcast is not responsible if, during an interaction with one of our experienced customer service representatives, the customer's cranial region ruptures, or in any way, combusts due to any number of medical factors. I was stoned and downloaded a mobile game some years ago and decided to read the terms and conditions. It was like 20 pages and mostly had to do with privacy and microtransaction stuff. In the back half a paragraph was the lyrics to Toss Africa. Wanted to sign my kid up for cheerleading. Sat there and read the terms and agreement. Said something along the lines of we are not responsible for any accidents that occur in the transportation of your child. My husband lost his brother in a school transportation accident, and they initially tried to avoid the blame. So naturally that line gave us the heebie-jeebies, and we just left. Turns out they were just a shady company all around. She now does cheer through her school. DeviantArt's terms of service is basically a contract allowing them to print, reproduce, and profit from your art, if they so choose, without needing your permission or consent. Usually this takes the form of ads or contests, where they'll be used in public displays. If you post works that show a high level of technical skill, then you need to either sign it, or use a big ol' watermark. There was a story contest from a theme park, where your story could be published. But any story submitted would automatically be owned by the company and could not be used by you or others, so they could throw your story in the trash and you still wouldn't legally own it anymore and can't publish it somewhere else. They own your story, so they can make money out of it without paying you a dime. They were not obligated to credit you as the writer other than mentioning it somewhere in the first publishing. After that it was fair game. They were allowed to alter your story as they saw fit without consulting you. I wasn't the only one who noticed. It was soon pointed out on social media. There wasn't really a backlash, but I didn't submit a story. GameStation once made an Immortal Soul clause on April Fool's Day to prove that no one actually reads the terms and conditions. It read, by placing an order via this website on the first day of the 4th month of the year 2010 Anno Domini, you agree to grant us a non-transferable option to claim, for now and forevermore, your immortal soul. The devil's in the details.
Detective.
Thank you, customer, for actually reading our terms and conditions. Send us an email with the following content and we will send you a free box of chocolates. They did indeed send chocolate. Ctrl+F reading on every terms and conditions now, or other keywords. If you make money on TikTok, the owners can rightfully take the money. They can also use your videos in their advertisements without your permission, even if the videos are private. Cody KO had to deal with this. Hippity hoppity, your TikTok is my property. Huppity hudes, we can make money of your nudes. Buying my first car at a dealership too close to a naval base. Never bought a car before. Had no idea what to do. Monthly payment is $250? That sounds sensible. Sat down and read the contract, much to the chagrin of the sales guy. Interest rate was 18%. I knew enough to walk away. Something that I wish I read was on Fabletics online store. Apparently if you make any purchase they automatically sign you up to their VIP program, which is a $50 per month subscription for VIP clothes. I made one purchase on their site, checked out like any other online store, and got my clothes a week later. 8 months go by, and I notice a -$50 taken out of my bank from Fabletics. I check my bank pretty often, so I don't know how I missed this, and it turned out to be a recurring payment for 8 months. I called their support line and explained to the guy that I never signed up for their subscription and I never even received any sign up confirmation emails or payment statements to know what was happening. He said I most likely signed up when I purchased my clothes 8 months ago because it's in their terms. It's like once you sign up they ghost you and take your money every month. It took a lot of frustration and refusal to hang up the phone until they finally said I can get a refund of my $400+ that was just sitting in my VIP account. I was like, clearly I was unaware of this because from the past 8 months I haven't made any more purchases on your stupid site. Give me my money back. They finally refunded it all back. F***ing scammers. Don't buy it from Fabletics. Amazon's or service terms contain a clause pertaining to a zombie apocalypse. No, really. However, this restriction will not apply in the event of the occurrence, certified by the United States Centers for Disease Control or successor body, of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain, or nerve tissue, and is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization. What was the restriction, and what was it being applied to? The whole section is about Amazon's lumberyard materials, an engine used for developing video games. Here's the full text of the paragraph in question. Your use of the lumberyard materials must comply with the OR's acceptable use policy. The lumberyard materials are not intended for use with life-critical or safety-critical systems, such as use in operation of medical equipment, automated transportation systems, autonomous vehicles, aircraft, or air traffic control, nuclear facilities, manned spacecraft, or military use in connection with live combat. However, this restriction will not apply in the event of the occurrence, certified by the United States Centers for Disease Control or successor body, of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain, or nerve tissue, and is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization. Good to know we can use Amazon's game engine to run a nuclear power plant in the event of a zombie apocalypse. If you want to take Huawei to court, you have to take them to court in China. What they don't tell you is that it's near impossible for a foreigner to win a court case in China. WhatsApp, when it went full Facebook 4 years after purchase, sent out an Android update. The update said it was just adding the ability to give group chats as subheading. What it was actually doing was giving Facebook permission to take information. This option was enabled by default. Of course it was, and you had only 3 months to notice this had happened before the option to opt out was disabled. I was late noticing this, but when I read the terms and conditions, the last line said something along the lines of, even if you opt out, Facebook and the Facebook family of companies will still take the data for training purposes. I haven't deleted my account. They probably had my info by that point, but F that poop installed Signal. Found this quite a few years ago on Chive. Anyone submitting photos to us also agrees to name their firstborn son or daughter Leo and secondborn child John. If you stop reproducing after the first child, you must agree to acquire a panda bear from China and name it John. Resignation Media not only owns the rights to any photos you upload, but also owns the rights to your mom. Should we wish to exercise this option, you agree to surrender your mom and any claims you or your family may have on her within 5 working days of receiving written notification from Resignation Media. In the event your dad or your mom's parent or parents intervene and claim joint ownership of your mom, Resignation Media reserves the right to bitch slap them and give all parties Justin Bieber haircuts. If, upon receiving your mom, she attempts to leave the Chive's kitchen, where she belongs, she too will be given a Justin Bieber haircut. I can't remember the app, it was many moons ago I saw this, but it was supposed to be geared toward aspiring photographers and giving them exposure, and you could rate other photos and do challenges. Essentially the TOS said that anything you post is now their property that they can use for whatever they want, including making money off of it. Back in the day when people legally acquired new music by buying CDs, one of the bands I listened to would hide nice little messages to fans in the copyright/legal fine print in the booklet that came with the CD. Sometimes there would be a small link to a hidden part of their website that had extra content. Pretty cool of them. At a gun range one time I saw that if I yelled out I love dogs, my time and anything I buy is half price. I immediately did so, startling my best friend. That was awesome. The contract to a job I had working in the desert warned about the frequency of alien attacks. I was disappointed to go a year and a half without any, though. Hey, how much is that scar H on the wall? $3,000. I love dogs. I had a Victoria's Secret coupon that said Canadians are required to pass a math question or test in order to be eligible for the discount. I think I still have it at my desk. My job, in part, is writing terms and conditions, agreements, and disclosures for the bank I work at, so I actually do read a lot of T&Cs in homage to the amount of time my colleagues in the field put into writing 18 pages of poop no one but examiners read. The Canadian math requirement is the strangest I've ever seen. That's actually required of them by Canadian law, which does not allow any gaming or lotteries that are not officially sanctioned. It's just a technicality. So if you answer the question correctly, you haven't won a gamble, you've earned the reward. Thanks for explaining that. Does no other country require you to answer a skill testing question when you win a prize? Sony can sue you for literally not updating your console software if you're connected to internet. What? I don't have a story myself, but I found this article about a man who won a $1,000 giveaway that was hidden in the EULA of an app. The 3,000 people who installed the program before him didn't bother to read it. Whoa, that's awesome. I'm almost tempted to read EULAs now. Almost. Don't know if they changed it, but when you chose the fragile option in a mail system like FedEx, that didn't mean they would take special care of it, but that you admitted that it was fragile and therefore it could be broken without being their fault, leaving you unable to sue them for breaking your package or to ask any reimbursement. And of course, if you don't mark it as fragile and it breaks, it's still your fault for not letting them know that they should take extra care of it. What a joke. I don't know if this is super surprising, but I read the entire lease for my first apartment and apparently I couldn't get out of my lease even if I died. Might be so they have a claim against your estate for the remainder of the rent for the year. If so, you should be fully entitled to stay in the apartment for the remainder of your lease, decomposing as bodies do. After reading through all the comments here, I see no one has mentioned how useful this tip can be. If you're downloading some shady software, scroll through the entire TOS and find any checkboxes, then uncheck them. usually for things like this. That's how various programs and malware will end up being downloaded without you understanding how, which is what will usually happen with people who are especially young or especially old. There will be something written in there, like you agree that you would like to install Mega Super Saver Search Plus to your PC and set it as your default search engine with a pre-checked box next to it, leading to a lot of easily avoided problems. So yeah, scroll through and uncheck boxes when you're downloading something weird. You don't even need to read the terms, just be aware what could be tucked away inside them.